What's up, everyone? Diego Sultan with Listener's Notes. I wanted to give you guys my top 10 mid-year album of the year list. There's a lot of albums I love this year. All the albums on this list, they're great albums. They're fantastic. But I couldn't even include all the albums that I loved. It's just how this thing goes. It's only 10 albums. So I still love that Creeper album. I still love that Thundercat album. But, they just didn't make this list because this list is my 10 favorite in order lists so far of the year 2017. Also, there are a lot of albums this week. A lot of stuff came out. That Lord album might have made this. I've been enjoying it so far. I'll probably have a review out on that next. But for now, let's just get this filmed and out of the way. So first, I want to talk about my number 10 favorite album of the year, the new King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album, the Flying Microtonal Banana, which is easily one of the most wild and forward-thinking rock albums from their discography. But it's not a shock, because that band just loves to do something so random and unique with each project they put out. So for them to do their psychedelic garage rock sound and combine Middle Eastern microtonal instruments, it's just not a shock, and it's actually a beautiful sound, and they really pull it off well. All right, number 9 is Your Old Droogs with Pack, or Your Old Droog, excuse me. He's a New York rapper. He's from Brooklyn. He's a lyrical guy, honestly. He spits a lot of good one-liners and punchlines. He's good at telling a story. And yeah, he's just good at what he does. The beats are just classic New York. They sound like some MF Doom type stuff. Maybe something a little earlier than MF Doom, but not like too far, I wouldn't say. And just song concept after song concept. Good story after good story. Clever punchline after clever punchline. This guy brings it. And, if you're looking for that kind of rap album, if you want someone who has good wordplay, good lyrics, then this is where you gotta go. Trust me, this album's fantastic. The next, at number 8, is the new album from Foxygen called Hang. Foxygen, they really went for something big, grand, and explosive with their last album here. It's short, it's only 32 minutes, but they packed a lot of different instruments into this album. They had an orchestra, and they just went wild with it. And it really fit their sound. They were mishmashing obvious influences and just patching them together in a somehow seamless way. It didn't come off jarring or misput when you felt them transition from one influence to another. They did it so seamlessly and so well. That's just what Foxygen does, honestly. They managed to patch together their influences in a very schizophrenic but a very a well-written way. And adding the string sections, adding the horn sections only makes this album more grand and bold and loud, and also more sonically diverse, more textured, and it just sounds fantastic, actually. Next, I'd like to talk about the new mixtape from Brockhampton at number 7. This one's called Saturation, and this is easily one of my favorite mixtapes or albums to come out from a new rapper or group or whatever in a while. Brockhampton to me is like what Odd Future would be if everyone in Odd Future consistently had talent, because sadly we all know the drop off after Frank Earl and Tyler was massive. But these guys all have it, and they bring it over some great, indie rickety style beats. Everything about it just sounds great. The beats all have bass. The songs, there's a great diversity here. There's some good singing, some good rapping. Kevin Abstract brings his stuff, but he's really not, the main focal point here. There's so many other people here with talents and different skills that are used on this album, and it just is a mix. It's like one of the best collective, massive group hip-hop albums we've had in a long time, because not many groups, and that includes ASAP Mob, and that includes the Odd Future, have been able to make a good album with this style. Let's be honest here. And these guys, they do it. There's indie pop, chill type songs, there's R&B type songs, and there's hip hop type songs, all tied together in a bow, and it just all sounds cohesive and great. Definitely worth checking out. Number 6 is Jason Eady's self-titled album, and this one is so far my favorite country album of this year by far, without question. Close second would probably be Chris Stapleton, but his album isn't going to make any of my lists by a long shot. Jason Eady is just so personal and so intimate on this album, but he never loses that natural ricketiness, that dustiness that comes with like a country album. It feels authentic, organic, but it also feels like he's like right there with you and he's telling you these stories, and all these stories are just incredibly well told, well written. The lyrics on this album are fantastic. They all really get a point across, or all have an interesting theme, and this whole album just runs through a lot of things in Jason's life that are just very interesting. Instrumentally, it's a good singer-songwriter type of project. I think Jason really wrote something great here, and country fans should definitely give this thing a shot, because it's, again, easily my favorite country record this year so far. We might see it topped, but I doubt it. There's not much that I think can top this. Number 5 is Perfume Genius with No Shape. Perfume Genius is just fantastic on this album. He manages to take his very sensual, smooth style of balladry and singing, and just adds more sounds, more textures, more everything, and it just helps it blossom and grow, and it just sounds fantastic. This is, I would call it something along the lines of art pop, and it's just great. It's put together well. There's a lot of catchy hooks on here. The vocal performances are all consistently fantastic, and all of the instrumentals really complement, you know, what Perfume Genius is doing vocally, which is all I can really ask for. And lyrically too, I didn't really dive into his lyrics when I did talk about this album, but all of his lyrics too do deal in very personal things, from Mike's own insecurities to dealing with homophobia to all sorts of things that he's gone through, and he just he tackles them so well, so tastefully. This album is just perfectly executed for what it is, and I can't wait to see what he's making next. Number 4 is Run the Jewels with Run the Jewels 3. I know it's a 2016, very late 2016 album, but it's counting here. It's great. LP and Killer Mike, they do what they've been doing for the past 2 albums, and they bring it on this album. Great beats, the lyrics are fun, great wordplay, there's some political stuff too. Honestly, right now, hip-hop album of the year. If you haven't heard this, check it out. Any hip-hop fan who hasn't heard this, get up under the rock you're living under. Please try this. This is easily the best rap album this year. There's no question. I know people will say Kendrick or Joey, and those are good. They're fine. I loved Joey's album. It just barely didn't make this list. But I'm telling you guys, Killer Mike, LP, Run the Jewels. Check it out. At number 3 is Father John Misty with Pure Comedy. Father John Misty makes a hilariously, just, I would say at times, offensive singer-songwriter album here. The production is beautiful, strings, guitar, horns, it all sounds great. Father John Misty singing, it's great as well. And his lyrics, though, that's where the real entertainment comes from. They're all very snide, they're snarky, like I said, they're offensive, and he just dives into flaws of just humanity in general. And all of them are just really well put together, well set up. His explanations are actually pretty in-depth, and it's just an intelligent take on almost everything. And again, it's funny. If you try this album and you're offended by it, you should probably try it from a more, just from a, don't take it seriously is what I'm trying to say. It's called Pure Comedy. It's not trying to be, you know, critical in any other way than to just point out what's wrong with all of humanity. He doesn't, you know, attack every little person. He's just pointing out the flaws in all of us. And number 2 is Mount Eerie with A Crow Looked at Me. This is the saddest album I've heard in a long time, and it's rightfully so. I mean, this man's wife died of cancer, then he wrote an album about it. And it's one of those albums where a lot of people don't want to treat it like this or to put it on list, but I have to. And it's not because I think it's the most well-written album in the world. It's not. It's very simple, intentionally so. But what I love about it, and what I will continue to love about it, is how it has affected me emotionally. Not many albums make me, you know, think about my family that much. Not many albums make me cry as much as this album has. It's just effective. It makes you feel something. It makes you feel a lot for just Mount Eerie and everything he's been through. And it's just fantastic, and I have to praise it for that. I can't ignore it because it's touchy subject. It's just what he did is fantastic. It's not getting praised just because something happened to him. It's not that at all. It's how he did it. The way that he made these intimate, quiet, personal, heartfelt songs with lyrics that are just biting. That's where all of the praise comes from. He absolutely nailed this album, though I doubt that was his main goal in writing it. And number one, my favorite album of the year so far, is Sampha's Process. This album is just fantastic. If you like alternative R&B with elements of electronics and pop, you should check this out. Sampha's voice is just smooth as butter. His vocal performances are all great. He has a lot of interesting lyrical topics too, and just consistently song after song after song after song is just fantastic all the way through, and that's why I love this album so much. There's never just a bad track. So this is when my camera cut out, guys. Sorry about that. But anyway, I just wanted to say that this album is great. Easily my favorite R&B album of the year. Check it out if you haven't already. Sampha just puts together great song after great song. It is a little quiet. It does take some slow builds every once in a while. But just everything about it is beautiful and well put together, well arranged, and well written. So yeah, that is my list so far. Obviously these albums could change, they could go in different orders, new albums will enter this list, and we'll see what happens come the end of the year. So I want to know what your favorite albums are so far. Put them in the comments below, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next video.